this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 1980 movie Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. This movie is probably one of the best known sequels. It's easily probably one of the best or most popular Star Wars movies. I think that a lot of people even would go as far to say that this is the best Star Wars movie. And it's definitely one of my most favorites for sure. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and probably my favorite, even my favorite sequel just in general. But this is a really, really good one. That starts off there on Hoth, and the Empire is tracking them down and Darth Vader is looking for Luke. And after an attack on Hoth, the rebels have to leave Hoth and everything, and Luke goes to Dagobah to start training with Yoda, and the rebels are trying to get away from the Empire, and they end up setting a trap to get Luke to go after Han and Leia, who are in danger because of being caught by Darth Vader, and they're using them for a trap. And Luke, of course, goes after them. They're on Cloud City with Lando Calrissian, and Han gets frozen in carbonite and taken by Boba Fett to Jabba the Hutt. And when Luke arrives, him and Vader have a fight, and that's when he finds out that Vader is his father. One of the biggest plot twists in movie history. I was lucky when I saw this movie as a kid. I didn't know anything about Star Wars, so when I saw this movie as a kid, it really, really shocked me that Darth Vader was Luke's father and everything. I remember, I kept asking my grandpa over and over again if it was true that if he was his father, and he was like, you have to wait till you watch the next one to find out for sure and everything. But I just absolutely love this movie. It's easily one of the best Star Wars movies for sure, and the cast in here are all really great. Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford all are just as good, if not better, in this movie. Personally, I think that Luke was even better in this movie. He was a lot cooler in this movie. I loved Yoda, even though he was more comedic and stuff in this movie than he was in the prequel trilogy. But I always thought he was amusing and stuff, how he kind of played with Luke's mind and stuff at the beginning of the movie, and he just was really, really good character and everything. And it was cool getting to see Obi-Wan as a Force ghost, although I really wish that he would have been in there a lot more than he was, because I had forgotten that he's really not even in it near as much as I remembered as a kid, though. It seemed like he was in it a lot more back then. Billy D. Williams was a great addition as Lando. I thought he was great, and this is just a really, really good movie. That I love the darker tone that this movie has. It's darker than the first movie. It doesn't really have a happy ending, and I love that about it. And it really just set the bar really high on this franchise and everything, and not just the franchise, but sequels in general. I mean, most people say that when you ask what the best sequel of all time is, a lot of people would say this movie, and a lot of people compare sequels to this movie. This is the one that, if you want to get a comparison, if they say that it's the best sequel since Empire Strikes Back or something like that, you know that the sequel has done something good. And everything. I just love that about this movie, and the practical effects in here are amazing, and all of the special effects in this movie are great, and the sets are awesome. The only thing that kind of got on my nerves was C-3PO. The way when he was on Chewie's back and stuff and everything, he kind of got on my nerves at times. The way he was like fussing and stuff and everything, it kind of got annoying at times. But it's also amusing too at times when he gets really annoyed and everything. But it also kind of is annoying at the same time. It don't really annoy me as much as it did back when I was a kid. I used to really not like C-3PO, but I've come to like him a lot more in recent years than I used to. And one of my favorite scenes in this movie, I don't know what it is, but when they are on the asteroid and they go out and like the ground is squishy and stuff, and then everything starts shaking and everything. They go back on the ship and they start to fly out, and it's like this giant worm thing. I don't know what it is about that scene, but that's always been one of my favorite scenes from this movie. I just absolutely love that, and I love the scene when Luke is on Dagobah and he is fighting Darth Vader, and he knocks his head off, and he like sees himself in the mask and everything. I love that scene too. I think it was a really awesome scene. And like the scene when Vader tells him that he's his father is one of the most powerful scenes in movie history, and Mark Hamill's performance in that scene was just absolutely amazing. And there's just a lot of other really great scenes, like when Yoda pulls the X-Wings out of the water and stuff. And I think that Irvin Kershner's directing is really, really good. I think it's some of the best directing in the franchise and everything. I also love how it fits in with all the other movies in the franchise. Like, you wouldn't have really expected it to not be George Lucas, because the way he directed it, it still felt like it was directed by George Lucas, if that makes sense, and everything. I really like that about it. I think that directing was done really great, and I think that Lawrence Kasdan and the other guy who helped write the script, I think they did a really good job with the dialogue and stuff. That the dialogue between Han and Leia is not corny or cringeworthy or anything. The only cringeworthy part in this movie is when Leia kisses Luke and everything, and that's just because of knowing that they're brother and sister. It just makes you cringe every time you watch it. But like A New Hope, I think this is pretty much a perfect movie. There's not anything about this movie that I can really say I hated, except for, like I said, that cringeworthy kiss. I mean, it also kind of makes it amusing, though, knowing that they're brother and sister, but it's also cringeworthy at the same time. But really, this is just a great movie. It's one that I definitely would have recommended to anybody. If you're a Star Wars fan, there's no doubt you would have seen this one. But so I'd give this one a 10 out of 10, just like I did A New Hope. There's just not really anything about this movie that I can say is bad, and everything. It's just a great time. It's very, very fast-paced. It goes by really quickly. I started this movie just a little bit ago, and it seems like it just went by within about 30 minutes and everything. But there was no real slow parts or anything like that, and that's something I really love about this movie, as the pacing is really good. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of The Empire Strikes Back. I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.